Ba 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 ba
That's a
cha-cha-cha.
Cha-cha slide. And then he goes like, welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Welcome to Loosely Related Podcast. We're back for episode 28, and we're going to have a special episode today on Star Wars because it's kind of an end of an era here.
It is.
We got the ninth one finally came out just last week, I think, right? Last week.
Yeah, last Friday.
And I saw it. I don't think everyone saw it. We're not going to spoil the movie for anybody, but we're just going to talk a little bit about like Star Wars and just the history of it. And I've been around since the beginning, before they even invented cameras that even they were. This was like people didn't even know about when I was a kid. They didn't even know about. It was a flat Earth. It was flat. The Earth was flat.
There was no space.
We didn't know
in the beginning. There was Joe.
It was Joe. Well, yeah, it was the God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, and then right after that, me.
Yeah. Well, you started the whole hashtag space is fake thing. That was you.
I did.
You
flat Earther. I was the flat Earther.
Yeah.
I'm no longer a flat Earther.
Thank God. There's still like 4 people out there.
Now you're the Earth is on the back of a giant turtle floating in space.
It is. It's cool.
You're that one now.
That's going to be on our next episode. We're going to talk all about that.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's going to be very interesting. I'll convince you guys about the turtle theory.
Listen,
the Earth turtle theory.
People have already convinced about a lot of things. Huh?
Yeah. So before we get started, I have to talk about a couple of things from the last episode. Well, there's a few things I want to talk about because I have to make some corrections.
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 Wow. Yeah. Well, we're going to be here all day if we start correcting ourselves.
This is true. I'm not going to try to correct everything that I said it was incorrect, but I don't want any fake news going out there into the loosely related podcast world.
Okay, fair enough.
So one of the things we talked about last week was about the Christmas songs, and I said that Don Ho sung Mili Kliki Maka.
Yeah.
No, I was completely wrong.
Really?
And I have the B&B to thank for that because I was totally off base with that.
You had me convinced.
Yeah, and I had myself convinced.
Yeah.
I had myself convinced up until last night because then I was like, wait a second, I was wrong. It's definitely Bing Crosby in that song.
I could have sworn I looked it up and it just said Bing Crosby.
And I think I dissed you on that. I was like, nah, you're wrong. It's definitely
it's definitely Don Ho.
Yeah, it's definitely Don Ho.
No, I'm sorry, it's Lady Gaga. Nope, she was there.
Yeah, so
he's gonna go along like I was going along with that director of that movie.
the director of the Ridley Scott thing, or whatever.
Ridley Scott did it. I went on for years of my life.
Oh my God,
believing that for so many years.
That's Ridley Scott. Nobody even knows that movie. I'm like, Ridley Scott never seen that movie.
So I won't badge you again, Brian. I'll make sure since you're my I should trust my second brain, right? My other half.
Well, yeah.
So anyway, it was Bing Crosby that song Mili Kliki Maka, the Christmas song, and we talked about the B&B thing, and the B&B thing was all wrong about the glasses and where I got the glasses from.
Oh, those glasses, the nice ones.
Yeah,
they were nice.
Yeah, they were nice, but they were actually given to me by my sister Peggy.
Yeah,
and I think.
But you were half right though, because they were your father's glasses, right? No, or was I wrong about that?
They were. My mom got them in Frankfurt, Germany.
Okay, in Frankfurt, Germany, right?
It was Frankfurt, Germany.
You were right about that.
Yeah,
they were from
Germany. Remember, you were saying something about Frankfurt, Long Island.
Frankfurt,
Long Island.
Well, I know. I said Frankfurt, Virginia.
Frankfurt, Virginia.
I don't even know if I said that.
Yeah. So anyway, they did come, and I think my mom got them over there from some kid. Or whatever. I'm not going to go into too much, but they did come as.
Well, you don't want to have to correct your corrections.
Yeah, I'm not going to correct my corrections. Yeah. So anyway, we did drink. My grandfather. Those weren't the original.
There'll be footnotes on this house.
Yeah, footnotes. Yeah, have asterisks.
Those weren't the original, from what I understand, and I may be corrected again. But they weren't the original glasses my grandfather drank out of. He drank a very similar glasses.
Okay.
She gave them to me because she knew my sister gave them to me. So that's where they came from. So that's basically the only.
Joe's gonna need Spark Notes for his own life.
And I was listening. I was out. Of course, we just had Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
And, I was out shopping.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody. That's,
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Also, real quick, just to say, because I think this episode is coming out on New Year's Eve.
It's coming out on New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year's to everybody, to all of our followers out there.
So this is New Year's Eve. So hopefully you spend some time while you're drinking, put on our podcast and watch our podcast on New Year's Eve.
I guarantee you it gets better the more you drink.
Exactly.
Yeah, it does. It most definitely does. We can attest to that from last week's episode.
We really come into focus.
Yeah. So when I was out shopping, I met Santa at the liquor store.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mid Valley Wine and Liquor. I told him I'd give him
Santa, yeah.
I met Santa, and I have a picture of him, Brian. And it's going to right here or whatever. It's going to post right in front of us. Just
there we go.
Put that up because I told him I'd mention him on the show and show his picture to everybody, and it was cool because Santa was there shopping for liquor like me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a gift for somebody.
It's pretty funny. We're not going to don't give any more detail than that because you have to see it. And for our listeners, you have to just do it. You know what we'll do? We'll throw it up on our Instagram too for all of our listeners, so you can see that we met Santa Claus.
We met him. He does shop. He does drink.
He does drink, and we met him at a liquor store, which is like okay. He's super
so
stressed.
red.
Yeah, exactly.
And I also told I think the guy's name is Ben.
Yeah.
And he's one of the staff at Planet Pizza where we got ourselves catered for Christmas.
Our Christmas Eve party that we talked about.
So Santa Claus works at Planet.
I told them we were
No. So then we ordered catering from this Planet Pizza and Newburgh restaurant. I want to give a shout out to them. Thank you. The food was amazing.
Yeah, it was very
delicious.
And we have tons of leftovers that we've been eating for the past few days.
Yeah, we passed literally since the 24th, and it's really good. So shout out to them if you want to get some good pizza. Planet Pizza in Newburgh. There you go.
Not sponsored yet, but hopefully
not sponsored.
But anyway, so we want to talk about Star Wars because Star Wars, man, it's been forever. It's been my entire life practically.
What do you mean like Star Wars, like the Wars of Stars, like not the movie franchise, right?
Yeah,
that's nothing to do with the movie franchise.
There's the Star Wars that we could talk about. That's just the wars between the different planets and stuff.
Sure,
or War of the Worlds. But we're not talking specifically about those things. We're going to talk about the actual Star Wars franchise, where the 9-part series that started with the middle 4, 5, and 6, and it came out. The first one came out in 1977.
Yeah,
and I was what was I?
45.
I was 40.
You were 45 then.
I was 14 actually.
14. Oh, okay.
I was 14.
There's a 4 in there.
That was during my second lifetime, though.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Not even your second. At that point, you were already up to
fourth.
that was your 45th lifetime. That's what it was.
45th lifetime. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So I was 14 in my 45th lifetime.
Yeah.
And so I was 14 years old when I came out, and it was, it seems like ages ago, but it almost actually seems like it was yesterday too. It's kind of weird. Did you guys? You didn't see it. You saw it later on. But,
yeah, of course.
And Rob, how old were you? Were you around when the first one came out? No, you were not. You were born in '78, right?
I was. Yeah.
So God, so there you go. Brian, you weren't even a glimmer.
Like -20 or something.
Yeah, something like that. So, in my brother, who was deceased,
Brian was in an episode far away.
Yeah, he was in an episode.
Yeah, he was far away. My older brother Walter was a huge Star Wars fan.
Oh, really? Okay,
huge Star Wars fan. Yeah, and he loved the first one, New Hope. I think was the first.
Yeah, first one was New Hope. Yep.
And, I better say this now before we go any further.
Yeah,
I know there's some loosely related fandom out there. And they're probably even crazier. I can't believe this is true, but it is. I'm sure you're even crazier about the Star Wars. So send all that hate mail because we're going to make 700 incorrect statements about Star Wars.
Oh, probably. I'm sure.
We should just start by gauging what kind of Star Wars fandom do we have here.
Yeah. So episode 29 of Loosely Related.
How deep are you guys into Star Wars fandom? Are you like a huge fan?
Me?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I was I wouldn't say I was a huge fan like my brother.
Yeah, right.
Like he was a huge fan. He was a real Star Wars fan. We used to have arguments about it because when in '77 when Star Wars came out, I think it came out either just before or just after the Rocky.
That makes sense.
And I thought Rocky was amazing when I was a kid. I thought it was my favorite movie. I thought it was the best. We used to have arguments about which one was better. And he said Star Wars was so much better. And I was like, no way. And I used to argue with him also.
They're completely different movies. It's kind of a weird argument.
Yeah, no, but
like saying
lightsabers versus boxing gloves.
All right.
Toy Story is not as good as Citizen Kane. Sorry.
One of them is fighting in space, and the other is a guy who blocks with his face.
But we used to argue about which ones were better movies at the time because they were out at the same time. And they were both big hit movies.
No, I get. Yeah.
Why you got that freaking sword, Adrian?
The sword.
And I used to. And I used to argue with him. Now we'll bring it to where it's more compatible. Where I used to argue with about things. I'm a huge Star Trek fan, as I've mentioned.
This is what I was wondering.
There you go.
That starts me. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I got to ask right away. Is this like a thing where how you be kind of either you're in Elvis camp or you're in a Beatles camp? You don't really love both.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's like the Star Trek, Star Wars. Right? You can't really love both of them.
Yeah, true.
And I know you're a big Star Trek nerd.
Huge Star Trek fan. Both the old and the new, and all the movies. I love Star Trek. And Star Trek is actually based on most of the stuff that they have in there, things like the
true story.
Yeah, this is a true story. Most of their stuff,
true story.
Loosely related, it's a true story, right? So, it's most of the stuff, the technology in Star Trek is based on real theoretical science.
Right.
Like it's like
Like actual scientific theories.
And Gene Roddenberry made, when he was making those films, he based his stuff on just theoretical stuff. So I used to argue with my brother about how silly Star Wars was. This just the silly little characters in the bar. It was cute, but to me, I was like, not real life. And then when you're out in space,
it wasn't real life.
It's not.
I'm glad you drew a line in the sand.
Exactly. But in Star Wars,
can't get into Avengers Endgame. Thanos is too purple. It's not realistic.
Yeah, it's not realistic at all. But yeah, like Ed just used to say it was so silly. It's just the characters that you see on the different planets and the interaction. They all speak English and they all understand each other when they don't speak English. And
the craziest thing is they understand the droid. The droids are going beep. No, I don't think that's going to happen, R2. I think you're fine. I think you're just overreacting.
Yeah, just little silly things like that. At least in Star Trek, they had the universal communicators, which made it. They had an explanation by how they could understand each other because their universal communicators can translate any language in the entire universe.
Yeah, no,
I'm sure there's no plot holes at all in Star Trek.
There's not.
Tightly knit.
We'll have to go into the Tanagra.
Arms wide, walls foul.
Yeah, we'll go into that one. We'll go into that one day. But anyway, we'll stick with Star Wars though because I saw the first one almost 40 years ago.
So you saw it in the theater?
Yeah.
I saw it in the theater with my brother. I'm not sure where. The first episode I saw it with my older brother. He was huge about it. He loved watching the Star Wars.
Was it like crazy? Right? What was it like?
It was insane.
It was like instant hit, or
it was a huge hit. Like when we went.
It's one of the highest grossing films of all time. Today, even though it came out in 1977, and I think adjusted for inflation, it might be like number 2. Like literally, like number 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And it's one of the. I pulled it up on IMDb, and The New Hope was one of the highest rated ones out of the series, 8.6 on IMDb. But yeah, it was huge. You had to get, today we get tickets in advance. We go online, we get tickets in advance. Back then, you go to the theater, you had
to wait online,
and you had to stand on the line, and hopefully you got the ticket. You could get to the end of the line and and this ticket sold out. You get to the door and it's sold out. You get turned away.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it was like. Right. And these, in all my years of going to the movies, I've never seen a movie where the line's literally coming out the door and going wrapped around the building and there's people camping out the night before to try to get tickets for the show.
Yeah.
That's how it was for New Hope and the original 3, which is the middle part of the series. People were insane about it.
Well, I remember Phantom Menace, there was a long line. That one, I remember I had dressed up as a Jedi to go see that movie as a kid.
I was waiting to see if anyone
I was a kid.
Yeah.
I dressed up as like a Jedi, and we waited. I remember that was a long line. I mean, it wasn't like insane, but like you just lined up outside the theater door. But yeah, I remember like there being a pretty good.
Yeah, because they're
imagine the disappointment in that theater.
That was that's a whole different. We'll get to that. We're gonna have to get to that for sure. But to answer your question real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you, Dan.
Go ahead.
I know what Rob had said about the fandom thing.
Yeah.
I know, like for me, it's like I like Star Wars a lot. My dad got me into it. Obviously, he was watching it. He was there at 1977 and all that. I've always liked them. They're always good movies. I loved A New Hope. I loved Empire Strikes Back. Is actually that's my favorite. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. I definitely liked Return of the Jedi. I remember as a kid watching them, and then I remember I fell out of it, obviously, for years and years and years, and then Phantom Menace came out, and I think I was too young to really like Phantom Menace. The movie I would say that like weirdly got me into Star Wars like the most was probably, I think, Episode 2, which was, I think, Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones, yes.
Yeah, I think that was like the one where I was like, oh, like this was awesome. And I'm a little kid.
That came out in 2002.
Yeah.
The first time I actually saw Star Wars in the movie theater was they re-digitalized it. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they brought it back out.
1, 2, and 3. So I went to there. There were definitely people dressed up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how I'm going to just kind of like encapsulate this. So to me, I'm a Star Wars fan in that I'm a movie enthusiast. When I was younger, I loved movies just like you love movies now.
Yeah.
So I would have the VHS of the original 4, 5, and 6, and like at least once a year we'd be like, "Hey, you want to watch Star Wars?" We'd sit down and watch it or whatever. Yeah. And we'd always be like, "Cool," and I was always like, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, sure.
Even because it was made in the 70s, and when I was like, the 70s?
Crazy.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I know.
No, it was ahead of its time.
It was so good. I can never remember the special effects.
The special effects.
I was about to stroke out on that very difficult word. I keep messing up.
Exactly. It was so good.
They look amazing, man. Yeah. I'm like, holy crap, where do you get these swords? And we're all doing that crap at home.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so as soon as the games came out, like I think I had one of them for Super Nintendo.
Oh,
like, you
nice.
can wield a lightsaber.
Yeah.
That was like the most amazing. That was like the main character. character to me. I think I like the lightsaber more than anything else.
Yeah. Exactly,
I was like, so they're blocking bullets, and you have these stormtroopers that couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. They're 4 feet away. Every dumb thing ever.
That's one of the reasons you've always hated that. Like Star Wars has always annoyed the hell
made
out
fun
of
of it.
Is the stormtroopers missing? Like it's
the
really
stormtroopers are the most highly trained clone army in the universe, and they can't hit the broadside of a barn with a laser beam.
Yeah, it's like, how do you
miss with a laser?
And it's like they never run out. And even if they do hit, it's like always they get hit in the gun. They're like, oh,
yeah, they get hit in the gun or the hand. But
did that start the whole thing where people like make fun of that where they're 2 feet away from each other? Because that's what comes to my mind.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's been done in other movies, but that's like the thing. So that I would say is just a regular movie enthusiast. Now, if you've seen everyone and you can name the chronological order, the movie release order, all the bad guys ever been on there.
Every Jedi
dressed up and got in line and waited for 6 days. That's fanaticism.
No, that is. But
other people are out there into it.
I actually have a good friend. This is why. So I know I'm one of my best friends in the world. My friend Rob. He is a crazy diehard Star Wars guy. So much so that he's watched, and he would never talk to me again if we didn't mention on this podcast the animated series, because Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels are also like equally like they blew up. They are enormously.
The Clone Wars are really good,
and he's seen all them.
Seasons.
But he's seen all those.
I think they're available on Netflix and Disney.
And Disney Plus. For sure, Disney Plus, right?
So the Clone Wars is really. We actually mentioned this briefly on another one.
Yeah, we did actually.
It's pretty high quality. It's good. It's a good cartoon.
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
I'm gonna have to.
And they have one of my favorite characters on it. It's probably so unpopular, but I love General Grievous, man.
Oh yeah,
he's badass. That robot with the 4 lightsabers.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's a great bad guy.
He really is a good bad guy.
Well, that was another thing though that like Anakin Skywalker was such a badass when they got his ass kicked by just stupid things.
In that second one,
I have so many questions about it. I don't understand that.
So, but the thing is, now I grew up in 77, 83, 80, and 83 with the 3 original movies. Right. And then it was another, 16 years before the next one came out.
That's A New Hope, 99, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi.
99, Phantom Menace came out, which that was 16 years later, I guess.
16 years later, right. Math.
So, good math. And, when we watched all 3 of those, and we knew there was a 9-part book series that was originally written.
And there's tons of them in the same world, but they're just
different offshoots of the thing. But the original,
and they have graphic novels, all crazy, like hundreds of them.
The original 9. So after the first 3, I read episode 7, and I read it years ago, and I don't really remember, but I remember that it was the original story of the thing, and I was looking so forward to the next series. Now, they talked about it when we were growing up during that 16-year period about how to.
They always talked about.
Bring it in the other episodes, and everyone looked so forward to them. They built that up for 16 years, and then they came out with Phantom Menace, and it just went insane. Everybody was insane for Phantom Menace. I know it didn't turn out to be that great.
Jar Jar.
Although I think it's in Phantom Menace that my favorite villain is in.
Yeah,
Darth Maul.
So
Darth Maul.
That was the high point of that movie was because that movie. The one thing I would say about Phantom Menace, and anybody who hates on that film, a lot of people do. Like you have to acknowledge that film up until that point had the greatest lightsaber battle in the history
absolutely,
of the Star Wars.
That lightsaber battle was amazing.
And Darth Maul was one of the greatest villains. He was such a good villain. They were going to make a Darth Maul movie because he was such a good movie. The guy who plays, this is how I'm obsessed with it. I actually know the guy's name. So Ray Palmer was the actor who played Darth Maul.
Okay. Really? Wow.
And he trained for literally months upon months. That was he didn't have a stunt double. All those crazy moves, that's him doing that.
Wow.
So he used to go to like conventions and he would do all that shit.
Wow.
And he no stunt double, all him doing that crazy shit, and he practiced for months, and they were going to give him his own role, and then Disney just
I was going to say, where's the jar?
Because they wasted him in Phantom Menace.
They did waste him in Phantom Menace.
But that's what's amazing. You still had, I'm sorry, John, I didn't make you, but you still had some great characters, right?
Yes.
You had some great
Qui-Gon Jinn was amazing too.
But
Liam Neeson was great.
But that's where I got pissed off at Darth Maul. Darth Maul took on 2 of the greatest Jedi,
and
nearly beat him.
Nearly beat him.
Both of them were getting handled,
and it was just a cheap way that he died in that scene.
Well, it was kind of good that he died that way because he really was obviously the better fighter. Right? That's fair to say.
Right?
Yeah.
He was beating both of them,
and Obi-Wan was still young at the time. I mean, I guess now, I don't mean to say but I guess like out of the three
I know
of us,
we're
I'm
gonna
probably
get
the
hate
biggest
mail.
Star
We're
Wars
gonna-
fan out of the three of us.
Probably.
I would probably say. I mean, I don't really know just because. And the thing is, I'm not even like a like you would say like a fanatic, but I do like I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, I like that. I've
One of
seen
the
all
cool things about
multiple
it is like
times.
one of the things I love about Star Wars, and my friend Rob can like kind of like attest to this, is like listening to him, to people who like know like the lore of Star Wars and like the background behind it.
Yeah,
that stuff is actually kind of interesting. Like what actually really goes into the details, because these movies leave out obviously so much shit.
Of course,
you know, like and all of that. But
it's the same way of any other show you really like. I know we talked incessantly when we were all going through Harry Potter.
Right.
We're like this movie. What about this part?
Yeah,
part?
my God.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't do justice to the books, really.
Exactly.
So I'm sure it's the same kind of thing. Well, I wanted to ask you guys real quick. Do you guys have a clear favorite of the movies? Or?
Yeah, I definitely do. Dad,
why don't you start, Joe, with your
okay, go ahead.
I would definitely.
Well,
I mean, I mentioned it just before, but I think The Empire Strikes Back, to me, that's like, to me again, this all goes back to like one of like my favorites, and I think that's actually like one of the best science fiction films I think ever made. That movie is so well done. And of course it has the big twist, arguably one of the biggest twists in the history of cinema. Honestly, it's up there.
It's been played so many times.
It's been played over and over.
You think anyone out there is like, how dare you spoil that for me?
I know, can you imagine?
Yeah.
That's like saying, how are you going to spoil Passion of the Christ? I didn't know how it ended. Like, oh, sorry, listen, whatever. But, you know, that to me is a great movie. But to be honest with you, dude, I really loved The Force Awakens. I liked it. That movie got some hate, but I really enjoyed that movie a lot.
I enjoyed it
That
too.
was the
I think
J.J.
the biggest...
Abrams one?
That was the J.J. Abrams one.
That's probably my second favorite.
That's
the
your
biggest
second
knock,
favorite?
I think it was that it just repeated the same concept, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Brian, what is your favorite? We're sitting over there. Our film buff in
just
the
for
back.
the record, the on IMDb, I haven't checked the other sites, but the highest rated
it's probably Empire Strikes Back, right?
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a...
for me, I'm actually not a Star Wars fan.
You're not really a Star Wars
Okay.
fan, okay?
But I will say that I guess out of all the movies, probably A New Hope and then The Force Awakens were my favorites.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right.
So if you want to go ahead and just give some hate to Brian, you
Oh,
can
no.
hit him up
Yeah,
at
hit him up.
looselyrelatedpodcast at gmail.com.
If I went on
Drop
more,
those bombs on him.
if I went on more about Star Wars, we would.
Yes, I believe it.
Also find him at loosely_related at his Instagram.
Yes, definitely. And also at LR Podcast on Twitter.
Also, just quick disclaimer, Brian's thoughts and opinions do not necessarily reflect those of Loosely Related.
Oh no,
The thoughts and opinions expressed in Loosely Related
I'm on
Podcast
the-
by Brian.
I'm on the other end of the spectrum.
No,
when
it's
it
good
comes
to have
Star
people
Wars.
that feel both ways.
And Marvel too,
That's good,
Brian.
right?
Don't forget, you've also
yeah.
kind of
He's
crapped
little-
on Marvel a
little
as well.
little
I do not
contrary,
like
huh?
Marvel.
Yeah.
Wow, he's contrarian
That's
back
what I'm
there.
saying, man.
I like some of the movies, but as a whole for Marvel, I'm just not. They just don't do anything. For
It doesn't
Really?
work for you.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Star Wars. I don't get how people can just like wait outside for a week for those movies.
Right,
Well,
but
would you have
really
waited outside a week
hardcore
for
on
Harry Potter though, Brian? Would you have done
No.
that? No. Fair enough. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. He's
People
a
did
man
that,
of
though,
principle.
We're
That's good. I
telling
like
people
that.
the hard truths on this show.
We are.
So you're not a
told
huge
you.
Star Wars fan.
No, I'm like in general, I really appreciate the movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
sure.
I like the characters. I think it's awesome universe.
Yeah.
like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
sit there and think. Actually, I couldn't believe I was reminded today how much fanaticism there is for this show. Brian's not getting fed tonight. He's gonna be in the So but and by fanaticism I mean when I was looking in, they were explaining all the ways like 4, 5, and 6 came out, then 1, 2, and 3, and you're thinking in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, so you can watch it in chronology, right?
Yeah.
Chronological, or like the way the movie released.
Right.
Then there's like all these other ways people invented. Like if you
Yes.
don't want to know this, but you want to watch it this way,
Yeah.
you watch it in this order, and they're like going
That's so funny you
on
say
and
that.
on and on.
Yeah.
And then I'm like reading these little tidbits, and it's like it borderlines on fan fiction, and they're just theories. This one about. And I'm sure this will come up. I don't want to like ruin it now, but Boba Fett obviously is a huge fan favorite. I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the stupid way he dies. So I'm like, I wanted to talk about it today. So I'm going into the stupid
That's
way
why
he
I
dies.
can't like.
Yeah.
that
It's like so
movie.
retarded. He just gets knocked over and like flies his stupid ass
Into the pit?
into the pit.
Into the
right.
Sarlacc
So
pit.
exact. So I'm looking up the pit, and there's people like, it's not a pit, it's a living, and they're going on about what is this thing?
It's a
called?
living creature
Sarlacc? What
that's-
is it,
it's-
Joey?
The Sarlacc pit.
The Sarlacc pit. And
There
it's
was
an
a
actual
15-minute
animal.
video on why he would have survived. I'm like, did this happen? I missed this movie?
Yeah.
But it's just like their thoughts and process. He'll come back in Star Wars 94, and this is why. And they're talking about how this is how that living pit gets you with their poison, but his armor would have been able to hold like 80%
well, he has that. He has that.
I was like, what the hell? There was 15-minute video on just that. I was like, okay, these people are into it.
He's not a Mandalorian. Right?
He's not a Mandalorian.
No,
but it's interesting that you said that.
And then I saw that whole thing.
Good for you. You knew that, yeah, because a lot of people do not know that.
Because when I first saw Mandalorian, I literally said, "Is this Boba Fett?" That's what I thought it was.
Yes, that's what everyone thought. But and the other thing was that everyone thought, is this Jango Fett? Because it could be him as well.
Right.
So here's the thing. So Jango Fett, this is a little.
Jango Fett was more badass than Boba Fett as far as actually how he died in the movie, because he actually he fought
Mace Windu, who according to my friend Rob, I'm gonna be referring to my friend Rob a lot today.
I know we should have him.
And he also,
oh my god, he would. It's fascinating. It really is. He's like when you listen to someone talk passionately about something, it's like it almost like it kind of sucks you in a little bit. Like if someone's just like lecturing you, like, all right, this is Microsoft Excel tutorial, like, you want to kill yourself. But when you listen to someone and they got fire to it and passion, it's like, oh shit, like okay,
right. But he also fought Obi-Wan. Remember when Obi-Wan went to see him or something?
Yes, he did.
And they fought him on his platform, and then he escaped in his spaceship, right in Kamino. Yes.
And then he fought Don Ho on Tatooine.
Yeah,
he it was Bing Crosby.
No. He fought Andy Dufresne. He was escaping from prison. Yeah,
gotcha.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but it's so funny, Rob, that you mentioned the viewing order thing. So that's another thing that my friend Rob was telling me about, is that because of all the animated shows and the movies and all of this different stuff and all the animated movies, there is somebody on Reddit one time, and I think Polygon Magazine, shout out to them, they literally created the what they call the perfect watching order for like Star Wars, and it literally there's 17 steps. Okay, so it's the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, it's the Clone Wars animated movie, Clone Wars animated series, Revenge of the Sith, Solo, a Star Wars story, Star Wars Rebels animated series, Rogue One, Star Wars A New Hope, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars Return of the Jedi, The Mandalorian, Star Wars Resistance Season 1, The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Resistance Season 2, Rise of the Skywalker. 17 movies in order. That's how you're supposed to watch it. So if you haven't seen Rise of the Skywalker yet, you're about to be real busy because you're going to watch all of these.
I had to trim that down just to the movies. Just the movies was a lot.
Yeah,
and then there was all this order, and you don't want to ruin the big twist.
The big twist and all that.
But then you also want to see, all how that became and whatever.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know. I'm good with just the basic 1 through 9.
Right.
I did watch Solo and Rogue One.
We watched Rogue One.
I didn't see Solo. I liked Rogue One.
I don't think I saw Solo either. I saw Rogue One, and there was another one I thought we saw too.
Well, there was Solo.
Solo was okay.
Solo and just Rogue One.
Did you see Solo? No, that was just in terms of the story. Yeah, origin story, more or less. Yeah. There was Solo. There was a Star Wars. There was and then Rogue One. That was pretty much it for like the actual Star Wars. They're making more than obviously the Mandalorian.
As long as this is making money, this will go on forever.
They still might do it.
It'll be roaches and Star Wars,
dude.
That'll be here. And probably Joe has it.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's crazy to see how far it's come. Like everyone talks about like Marvel has 22 films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it was 22 films over the course of 2008 to 2019. This is 17 movies and animated series that have been going on
40 years
over the course of 38 years.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy to think about.
That is pretty crazy.
Now
I personally don't know that I have a favorite because they all go together. So I have a favorite of all.
That's
of them
what you put
I like
together
watching
after that long list you just gave us.
Yeah, right.
Well,
17.
I have but I mean I'm just talking about the original 9.
The movies.
I'm just talking about the original, just the nine
book
movies. Series movies, whatever you want to say.
You don't really have a favorite in there?
Or
one that you'd watch more than
I'd say there's favorite parts of each one.
I mean, are you going to sit down and watch The Phantom Menace over and over?
No. But there's
I did rewatch it not that long ago.
But there's parts of the Phantom Menace that are that I love.
Good.
Like I said, I love the battle. I love Darth Maul.
Did you guys like that? I like the little when Anakin was doing the pod racing.
Pod racing was
interesting.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was okay.
And that part of the story actually had a lot of heart.
Yeah,
the mom and being separate. It was actually kind of what is so bizarre. I think as you go through this timeline is like. It just seems so weird to me, and I'm sure someone's gonna drop that hate mail with Brian's hate mail, loosely related podcast at gmail.com.
Right.
Send it in.
Send that hate mail in. We want to see it.
Now, in Attack of the Clones, that was to me it was probably the worst one of all of them.
The Attack of the Clones, what I thought was boring about it was just it felt like 6 hours of exposition with and like. it looked like
finally-
watching Congress.
Yeah, and then
It
finally,
got so dull.
Yeah, and the acting was so bad,
Yeah.
and that whole scene.
worst
with I
acting
love
is
you.
from
No, I
Resistance.
love you more. That scene in that in that movie with Anakin. And,
that was the third one. I think.
Chris-
I think,
all right, that's the
I
scene.
knew,
Okay,
I knew
so I am
you
good.
were. That's
So, no,
not-
actually,
you
you're
actually
right.
don't hate Attack of the Clones. I was going to say when you said that, I was
All
like,
right,
I don't think you do because that
Attack of the
ending
Clones
battle,
is-
you loved that, and that's when
Oh.
Attack of the Clones
I
was.
don't remember what was the end.
Attack of the Clones is good for one reason. That's the first time you get to see Yoda fight a Jedi.
Oh,
he's
yes.
hopping all
that was
over
the
the place.
first time you get to see
Yeah, he
Yoda
fights,
do some shit.
Yeah.
What is his
Count
name?
Dooku.
Yeah, Count
Dooku.
But there's
Dooku
that
and-
dope scene
But
when
I
like
feel like there's
he
no real
comes in
Sith
and
in
like
that.
he walks
He's
in
walking
and
with a
everyone's
cane.
like, what?
Dooku.
Why is Yoda there? And then he pulls.
Yeah.
It's almost like
It's like 3 times bigger than him.
like crazy emphasized moment when he like pulls this lightsaber out. You're like, no, and then he
Yeah.
just starts fighting.
So I just don't get some of the. Okay, so the thing is, what I was gonna say before, it's so many like I don't know exactly how to articulate this, but they'll build someone up to be so awesome and iconic, like Boba Fett, and he dies in 2 seconds.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Or,
no,
like
I'm saying.
I don't
Yeah,
get it,
yeah.
or they
Boba-
make somebody supposed to be like mad strong. Okay, so like I didn't see the last movie, so I'm not gonna speak on that. But it just seems like the main protagonist now is
Kylo. Ray.
Ray.
is
Ray.
the new.
and then
Kylo Ren.
is supposed to be this badass.
Yeah.
Oh,
She was
Ray is
whooping his
supposed to-
ass
yeah.
after like
And-
2
yeah,
minutes
in
to
the
like
first
learn. She's like, I
movie,
feel
yeah.
bum 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 bum.
Yeah,
bum.
but they
She
kinda,
saved
they
the
kinda
other guy.
explained
Oh my god, I'm
Yeah.
so bad at this. So you're
Yeah.
saying about speaking passionately. I'm like, and then there was a guy, and I think he was in a
There was
plane.
that
He
guy. What was
landed,
that?
and he borrowed the guy's leather jacket. Nobody's gonna want to see this crap. But I'm so I'm so bad at trying to say
That's
what
hilarious.
but it does repeat. It's like the same set of characters, in my opinion.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
was
like
the
you
big
can almost
complaint.
draw one to another
Yeah.
in parallel.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the biggest complaint. I mean, literally speaking, in Return of the Jedi, it's the exact same story as the first one. It's just a slight. They literally say it's just a slightly bigger Death Star. That's
Right,
literally what
yeah,
Return
yeah.
of the Jedi
Yes,
is.
yeah,
Or no,
yeah.
but no, I'm sorry. That's no.
That would
Return of
be
the Jedi
the-
is like
that
where
would
it's
be-
like not all the way finished yet.
Right,
They don't
it's-
think it's operational. Or
right,
whatever. But
right.
it's the exact same story. As the,
Yeah.
as
So the
the
Force
first
Awakens
one.
was like a
The Force
Repeat.
the Force Awakens was that. That was just like an even bigger, more powerful Death Star. That was. An
I
entire
will
plan.
say they did go. I felt like they went more hardcore, and I don't know if that was just because you had different directors or whatever. But they were straight up killing people in some of these. Like
Yeah.
even going back to 1 and 2 or
killed-
whatever, it wasn't just Luke's arm getting cut off. Dude, what's the name? When Anakin changed, he was wholly bad. Dude, he straight up killed those children.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah,
that?
yeah,
He killed
yes.
those children. He was
Kids.
just
Yes,
swatting
he was-
People
those
like
all the
don't think about
Padawans.
that. Like, oh, everyone
That's pretty crazy.
Everybody forgave
Killed
Darth
them.
Vader real quick for killing young children.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's cool.
For
Yeah,
for
he
killing
was
a
just straight
bunch
up-
of young children.
A
And
lot.
the other thing I don't get is like, please someone explain this to me. Okay, so Anakin does become Darth Vader, right?
Yeah.
I hope I'm not spoiling that for
Yeah,
anyone.
yeah, right.
So he's fighting his match, right? He's a Padawan or whatever, and he's fighting Obi.
Obi-Wan,
Obi is
yeah.
okay.
Right.
So Obi's beating him down ostensibly. He beats him into the lava pit, right?
Well, yeah, they're
it-
fighting. It was a pretty big battle, and it
So
was,
that's that. To
and then
me,
he had the high
yeah.
ground on him at the end. He jumps off that little.
I
bot
have the
that's-
high ground. That's
I have the
that is
ground.
one
No,
of the
don't do
most.
it.
That is one of the most made fun of.
Yeah.
Like,
Does he say that
things
out
from the
loud?
movie? He says
Yeah.
out loud, "I have the high
I
ground."
have the high ground. Don't
You
do
can-
it.
And then he
2 feet
goes,
of high ground.
"You underestimate my power."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh
Dang,
my
all right.
god!"
So,
People
but-
make fun of that.
So I get that he needs that mask to breathe and all, but dude, he lost his legs in crap. Does he have fake legs under this?
Yeah,
Darth?
no, they show
Yeah,
it
no.
in Revenge of the Sith.
Shit?
the
Shit.
shit.
Revenge of the shit.
Yeah.
That's half a quarter in the
that- yeah,
script
that's
chart.
counts,
Okay, did they show?
They showed him. They put robot legs on him, and he's literally. I mean, there's one scene, and I think it must be in Return of the Jedi when they say he's more robot than man at this
Yeah.
point. There's almost nothing like there's
Human
nothing
about
like
him.
physically left of
Right.
Anakin Skywalker. Like not even like mentally or emotionally. Like literally, physically, there's almost nothing of Anakin Skywalker.
He
But
lost
there
one of
must
his
be
arms
some
and two of his
emotion though,
legs.
because he ends
Both
up
his
saving
legs.
Luke.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like yeah,
Right,
exactly.
because his
Yes.
what's that guy? His
His
Emperor
human,
Palpatine.
yeah,
He's
He's like
Emperor
killing him with his
Palpatine.
little Force master.
Sith.
He picks him up and he throws him down that. I mean, so he loved his son. He had it right. I mean,
yeah, I think he did.
so don't you
Okay.
kind of see that being played out again with They do
With-
that the same
And-
kind
and-
of
and
with Ray and.
did you see Rise of Skywalker? Just as
No,
a
I
side
didn't
note,
see
you
Yeah,
that.
didn't
Ray-
see it yet?
But if you
Ray
see them
and
in The Last Jedi,
yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
he saved her.
he saves her.
he kills his master with
they fight.
Right?
And kill
in the
big
last
master, yes.
in the Last Jedi. Yeah. True.
And those little, I gotta say on the side note though, those like red demon looking things they were fighting.
Finally fought them.
They're looking freaking awesome.
Yeah, I know.
They had like red lightsabers and crap.
For years, everybody wanted to see that those guys fight. No one ever saw the like that. Again, like this goes back to like me hearing about what like the culture, what people fit the fan culture. They always wanted to see like those are like the royal guards, and apparently like they're pretty badass. They never were ever like seen fighting.
Yeah,
that was the first time you got to really ever see them like fight.
It was pretty cool.
Going back to Kylo Ren, I every time I see him fight with that stupid lightsaber that he has, I don't know how he doesn't burn the shit out of his leg, cut his freaking fingers off.
Yes.
How do you have those stupid lightsabers things sticking out the side? You don't hurt yourself. I cut myself on a butter knife, butter and bread, and he's holding a lightsaber that's got two lightsabers on the outside of it.
What's even the point of that? What's the functionality?
How to make it different, I think. I mean,
but to me, it's just it's one of those things that I see it. The image of it just bothers me every time I see it on screen. I'm like,
so I do want to see Rise of Skywalker, but I haven't seen it yet. I definitely want to see it. I'm supposed to see it this coming week with my wife. I have a couple of days off, so I'm sure I'll enjoy it or whatever.
Right now, maybe it's because it's the last one out. If I have to pick a favorite right now, I might pick that one as my favorite. I didn't like the way it ended.
Okay, that's cool.
The big knock I heard against that was it was like a giant bunch of fanfare, but I don't know.
But
there's something wrong.
There's a lot of there's a real big split from what I understand between haters and
I guess anytime we get a thing that's so draw so many emotions from people, you're going to get that.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure, 100%. And we were talking about this when we went to go see it. It seems like a lot of the split is also because in these movies there's a lot of controversy that had nothing to do with Star Wars. It was really more in like the actual more on like the production side and like the Hollywood drama bullshit, which was like I think it was J.J. Abrams did the first one, and then he had other engagements. He wasn't available to do Last Jedi, so they bring on the director Rian Johnson, and he changed so much. He pretty much like rewrote a lot of the way, the direction that J.J. Abrams was going with it, and a lot of fans, like one of the reasons why that got so shit on is because again you had two camps. You had people who hated the fact that Rian Johnson changed J.J. Abrams' story, and you had the people who loved it. So the actual story changed a lot. So the story itself, he just literally did not follow in J.J. Abrams' direction almost at all. He like changed the direction.
Did they have like a script already?
So it wasn't even like a script, but you could, you can kind of tell where a story's going, right? You can sort of see like, okay, they're obviously setting up Rey's parents are going to be something really crazy big, and you can see that Kylo Ren is going to wind up probably having to fight her in the end, and there was just all these different paths that you could see, and this guy came in and changed it all. So then rightfully so, when Rise of the Skywalker comes out, J.J. Abrams comes back, and now they kick freaking Rian Johnson out, so now you're splitting the fans back the other way. So now you have people who were big fans of Rian Johnson who really liked his movie, and the Abrams fans are now happy he's back, but it's flipped the other way. So it's like literally split almost like down the middle, and if you look it up on like IMDb and these movies, it's like at a 55-60%, like somewhere in that range, and I think like literally that's the problem.
Yeah. What I'd like to know is how I know the original middle 3, 4, 5, and 6 are based on the book. I don't know how much the 1 through 3 and then 8 through 7 through 9.
7 through 9.
7 through 9 actually follow the actual book series. That's something I'd always wanted to look into to see how close.
Yeah, I don't think it does. I don't think they do, believe it does.
Some of it does.
I don't know, Brian. If you wanted to look that up, we haven't been giving Brian much fact checking to do.
I got so. What do you want me to look up?
Well, you know what it is? We tied Brian.
It's
back
a lot
up in
to
the
look. I don't
again
even know if it's possible to look it all up. I know there's an original book series. I'm not sure.
Well, you could probably easily find out. Is
the first 3 and the last 3 actually
the
based
new Star Wars trilogy based on the books?
But I can say this much: I know that it must be, because I know when Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting in that lava pit thing, and then
those
are
based on the books.
Those are definitely based on the books, because I know a guy when I was reading the one series, book 8 or 7, he was reading. He was one of these huge fanatics, and he was reading, and he told me the whole story about how the Sith comes and gets Anakin and rescues him, and then makes him Darth Vader. And he told me the whole story. So when I saw that scene, I was very happy about seeing it, because I was like, okay. So
apparently Darth Douchebag was taken. Darth Vader.
Darth
we're
Vader.
Good.
So what I get confused even with the bad guys' names. Like some of them are like Darth Vader, and then there's the Sith Lord, and then there's the Supreme Chancellor. Is there some kind of hierarchy there?
I still don't know who the hell Supreme Chancellor Snoke honestly was, or Supreme Leader Snoke was. I don't know.
He was after he came into power, I think, after The Sith was supposedly Palpatine was destroyed supposedly. Now we can't go much further than that because we're already too many spoilers. But
I'm lost. I've only seen up to Force Awakens.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, all right, so Brian, what we're talking about right now is a movie called The Little Women, and it has Emma Watson, and apparently it's really good. You should go out and see it.
I actually could probably explain Little Women better than I could do it in Star Wars. So why did they call her Joe?
That's hilarious.
Okay, so when Darth Vader was fighting Luke in The Empire Strikes Back, is it? Or,
well, they fought in Empire Strikes Back and in Return of the Jedi.
I think that's Empire Strikes Back. That's my favorite. Lightsaber fight because that thing went
really?
on for a while.
Yeah, I love it. It was a long one. Yeah.
And what I liked about Darth Vader is he was like so mysterious. He has the helmet on. Of course, James Earl Jones' voice is amazing.
Yeah.
I thought like when Kylo took his thing off so quick, it kind of like made him more human to me and not as frightening.
Yes, I agree completely. You need that element. Like a lot of people say, like the Joker without makeup is not the Joker. Like he has to have that makeup, right? So like Darth Vader needed his helmet. Like
it's almost because he like becomes somebody else, right?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, like think about Hannibal Lecter when he was wearing that mask and he has like the little bars in front of him. How much more terrifying he is than when he's just.
I thought that whole thing with Kylo Ren and the mask was just stupid.
Well, it was a dumb mask. The mask itself was like they could have gotten a better one.
Who are you trying to be? You know what I mean?
They could have taken some of Jim Carrey's.
You're not Darth Vader. Just beat Kylo Ren and throw the mask. And I can't spoil that.
But a lot of people in the Star Wars. I mean, you got to understand that again, Star Wars. Think about Star Wars. Everybody wears
that was
masks.
His grandfather, so he was trying to aspire to his grandfather's.
Well, maybe, but I just think he was.
I even got confused with
a mask.
It's like okay. I'm gonna ask the don't. I mean, I'll just ask after. People are gonna just start their own crap at me.
Yeah, okay.
I'm getting confused.
All right, so what Star Wars? Wait.
No, I get that.
Talk about Star Wars?
Okay, all right. So the one, the number 7.
Yeah.
What was that?
7
Force Awakens.
All right, so the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And they show Snoke in that. First of all, let me say, he looked creepy as hell.
He did.
Was he not 25 fucking feet tall?
Yeah, so,
And then I seen him in the next movie.
He's
shorter than
regular
height hobbit. He was a hobbit.
What?
Yeah,
I didn't make that up.
No, you didn't.
He was huge.
Yeah, exactly.
Why was he 100 feet tall?
I don't know. He was on a projector.
I think the projection was broken. It was like, wait, why am I really big? I don't know. I have to fix the aspect ratio. It's screwed up right now.
He looks so enormous.
Dramatic effect.
But I don't know, man. Why the hell was he small? That didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I wanted to see him get up and whoop some ass too, though. He was obviously strong.
All right, wait. So I want to go back for that. Like, I love anything that's top anything. So what you said, you don't have a favorite, but you have your favorite moments. So what's your other favorite moments?
All right, so
because you obviously have to have a.
God, I have.
You better have a few. If you can pick a favorite movie, you have to have a few favorite moments.
I have a few favorite moments, but there's more favorite moments of just the silly things in these movies.
Here we go.
I know sometimes that does become. It
does.
Funny,
yeah, you know what I mean.
I like what you were saying before.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, Jar Jar Binks.
Well,
that was really.
I was looking at top lightsabers by Cinema Blend, fights or whatever. The top lightsabers. I like the blue one, number 2. Red, number 4. Okay, I'm reading on Cinema Blend. I'm really losing it today.
Yeah.
The top fight they did rate as
Obi-Wan and
Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, and
Darth Maul was number 1? Yeah, that's my favorite. My second favorite, though, was the Anakin Obi-Wan on Mustafar. That is actually a really awesome fight scene. That fight scene is great.
Yeah, and also the one
that's Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah,
that was rated number 3.
Yeah, I think Revenge of the Sith is also where they destroyed all the Jedi except for Yoda, and they tried to sneak up on Yoda, and he turned around and just
66.
Dude, they wiped out almost all the Jedi, though.
Yeah, they did, except for Obi-Wan and Yoda, and I guess who else was not wiped out? Luke and
Leia were not. But apparently there were other people that were not. That's again the animated series. That apparently there's a lot of
sister and brother. Are they twins?
They're twins. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Does she have the Force too?
Because wasn't at one point
that's a spoiler. That's a spoiler.
Okay, because at one point early in the number 4, 5, and 6, they actually suggested that she was stronger than Luke.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
But then, no, you don't have to. So they'll resolve that.
What's that when he gets shot?
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move back into regular
So let me go through each one of them and tell you if I can remember. And Joe, you can correct.
He was weak as hell. He was so stupid. I don't know, man.
That was. It was.
How is he the main guy who's just kind of a loser?
Yeah, he really. They were crybabies.
He was a whine. Yeah,
the biggest crybaby.
Like, I don't want to do it, Yoda. I'm leaving.
His dad was worse. His dad was worse because
they were a bunch of whining.
He was crying the whole time about how what's his name didn't like her, and Attack of the Clones. The whole time it was about him. Oh, she doesn't like me. She doesn't like me.
Isn't that again with Rey and Kylo, they obviously have some kind of chemistry.
Yeah,
but
again, I can't answer
Anakin
that.
was so upset in the whole Attack of the Clones about how Princess, or what is her name? What's the princess's name?
Princess Diana.
Princess Diana didn't like him, and he was crying in that one, all right?
Yeah.
Then you had Revenge of the Sith, and he was crying about how he couldn't save his mom.
Couldn't save his,
he can't save anyone.
He couldn't anyone save his mom, and he'd just get so angry. He couldn't
Revenge of
control
the
his
Sith is
anger.
you're reversing them.
Oh.
Attack
All
of the
right,
Clones
so
is
what
the
I
one
wanted you
where
for, 'cause I can't-
he gets, he couldn't save his
He
mom.
couldn't save his mom, and he gets all
wipes
upset.
out all the
all those furry creatures.
No, not the furry creatures. That's the freaking Ewok. God, you're getting yourself all
Ewoks.
set
No,
up.
not
really
them. The
bad.
ones that
Anybody
go
who
around
kills
that.
an Ewok is worse than killing those. If he killed those Ewoks, I don't even
He'd
care
be
about the
murdered.
kids. He kills
Ewoks,
Ewoks.
okay.
I'm gonna
You're done.
find the actual actor and kill him.
I think
yeah.
that may be why I have so much like fondness for 4, 5, and 6. Maybe it's just because nostalgia gets older.
Sure.
But I thought those, like, some of the supporting, like, I don't know, cast, but those like characters were just more memorable.
Yeah.
Ewoks were awesome.
Ewoks
Wookiees
were
are
awesome.
They had that
Yeah.
whole like they're living in a tree.
Bro,
world.
you don't think Jar Jar Binks was memorable? What?
Well, he was memorable.
He's
I mean,
so memorable.
I remember how much crap was coming up with him. They were like all racist
Oh
and
my
crap.
God,
They were
it was
saying.
bad.
In Revenge of the Sith, he's
He's
whining,
a
and
clown.
he's in the office there waiting for.
We're back to Anakin right now?
We're back to Anakin. I'm just going to
But
say
Anakin was pretty strong.
I think that Anakin ruined the whole series, and at least in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
The
I think
acting ruined that.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
The acting
And then
was horrible.
Terrible.
Him talking about how much
was so
they had
bad.
that scene on the little balcony out there, and he said, "Oh, I love
Yeah.
you. No, I love you more." I almost threw up. I threw up
You
in my
did.
mouth.
You did
when I
honestly
saw
kind of
that.
throw your mouth a little bit.
And then it was just silly.
Yeah, but some of that's not just bad acting. Although there's plenty of that to be
The
found.
bad writing.
The
Yeah.
writing sucks.
Bad writing.
They're
Yeah.
writing these cheesy lines, like
Yeah.
just cheesy.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, it felt like Attack of the Clones, and
What was her name? A Mandala? Some of the princess? What isn't it? A
Princess
Mandalambala?
Wait, we talking about?
Princess Amidala.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Amalama
Yeah.
Ding
Yeah, I
Dong.
can't
Shamalama Ding
remember.
Dong. Shamalama Ding Dong.
Shamalama Ding Dong.
But that's like what was so dumb about it in those movies. Like you said, Rob. I remember Revenge of the Sith opens up with like the awesome space battle, cool space battle in space, blowing up explosions,
yep, yeah.
and then
I forgot
right
about
off the
that.
bat, Obi-Wan and Anakin fight Count Dooku in an awesome fight right off the bat. He kills Count Dooku. Then they even kind of fight General Grievous a little bit, and then 45 minutes of learning about space politics and debates and
So
government
boring.
and
Yeah.
bureaucracy, and you're like, oh, this is why I watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's like, I really want to understand how laws get passed in the Galactic Senate.
Yeah, and
Cool.
and I never understood the whole thing that between the Empire and the
cut out.
Chancellor. You had the Chancellor and you had the Sith, and the Chancellor was the Sith, right?
Yeah.
So he was working both sides of that whole thing. Like he was working the
Right.
the
Yeah,
whole.
Nobody.
the whole time.
He
They
was-
couldn't sense out with their force.
Yeah.
Yoda's right there. Everything seems right. It does, or whatever. Like nobody sees that.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like here's a guy who can see the.
I think these are just.
So we couldn't cut out. Are we good? Are we
No, we're good. No, we're
all right?
good. Yeah.
So so it was just I never really even to this day I never understood how he always said everything's working out just the way
Everything is going according
to plan, but it never went according unless his plan was to completely lose.
Yeah,
You know, it
and-
didn't never
which
went completely
is,
to plan.
I'm glad you guys
yeah.
all tuned in for the shit on Star Wars
Yeah.
well,
episode.
But see, all right. So Rob's right because
Our Star Wars special.
I
Why?
need
It
to-
sucks.
I think
I need to say that. See, the thing is, you guys, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only
We're
real
like
true
pooping up
fan
the
here,
Star-
but
yeah, I think you are. Man.
I don't
I'm
know.
a fan.
I'm finding
I'm a
out
fan.
that we're not fans.
I'm a fan.
That's what
Turning
we're
yourself
developing
into
here.
I think we never really.
My whole life has been a lie. I don't even really like.
I think
these.
you just
Don't
wanted to
look
do an
at me.
episode to make us like, all right. So now next episode is going to be about Star Trek and why it's so much better.
Oh my
Yeah, we
God.
could do
Oh,
that. We could
where
purpose
this is such a this is some propaganda bullshit. That's what this is.
But no, all right. So if you want to go back to why I am a fan, those
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
silly things. I just think there's a lot of silly things
There
in Star
was.
Wars
And
that
some
you
of
can
them there
that
are.
you
So-
really need
some
to
more than
overlook
others.
in order to just listen to the story and hear the story. Now, the story itself that goes through, I think, is a very interesting story, especially when you lived with the first three for 16 years and didn't know what was going to happen in the other ones, and they finally came out with the first three, and they kind of explained Anakin's origin and how he became. Darth Vader, which was cool. So you can follow the story now from beginning to end, and that's the story itself is cool. I like the story. you know.
No, the
Yeah,
basic
like the story.
premise for it is good.
Yeah,
That was super
think-
believable. Story's cool.
the story's cool. The story's
Not
cool, and I
bad,
like the
not
story.
bad.
I like the actual.
I think we should just go back to
story,
rating the
plot of the whole
lightsabers.
thing.
Yeah, no. for
Number
sure.
8 is the
We
should
green
do
lightsaber.
lightsabers.
Green lightsaber.
Which one is your favorite lightsaber? Who
What's
has your favorite?
lights?
I freaking love those lightsabers, man.
No, they're
How
awesome.
was that so the story was great back in the original ones. It was like, and it's so old. They had all this time to come up with it, and they just like, it was a big deuce, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all that, like you were saying before, all this Anakin crying. I mean, it was obnoxious.
Yeah,
Well,
it was.
I was like, would
the
somebody slap
prequels-
this crybaby?
Well, let me like.
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
First of all, no one likes the prequels. So in terms of shitting on that, you could do that all day. No one cares.
Yeah,
I think,
right.
I think and even the other one that's honestly gets shit on all the time is Return of the Jedi. A lot of people did not like it. They felt like it was super childish and like having the Ewoks. A lot of people don't like.
I
Like
like
there's
the
two camps
Ewoks.
of the Ewoks. You either like them or you hate them.
Yeah, there's
So,
a
I
camp
mean,
on the
like-
north and then the
Yeah.
camp on the south that defended
Exactly.
the little fort.
Well, yeah,
There's
the whole
that
thing.
part
Well,
of it.
the American Civil War was actually fought over. I like the Ewoks.
Well,
no, I
the
don't.
thing,
Well, fuck you. I'm
the
going to
thing
war.
about
Ewok
that one is like
policy, man. It's big
they were
time.
trying to break into the underground lair, right? In that one,
There is, though. Yeah, they
yeah.
help.
Return of the Jedi,
Yeah,
whatever.
and
They were
the-
trying to
and the
break
Ewoks
into the
help.
Solo's
Is-
there.
Is this going to be
with the-
another
Yes,
thing that
it is.
you're
It's
going
gotta
to
be, because I can't,
wow,
because it
you
reminds me of all
you
those
do
things.
not like it
Because it's
you really
just
don't
so
like
I
it.
finally
silly.
thought about why
Wait
I
a
do
minute,
like it,
wasn't
but
the
those
Star
side
Wars-
fights are good.
No,
Those
listen,
side fights are good.
just
That's
Wasn't
why I
the
like
Star
it.
Wars episode your idea?
It
Wasn't
sure
this
was.
your
It was,
idea?
but now that
you
it's here,
hated it.
it's fine. I'm hopefully get
You
more
don't
email for
like
hate
it.
mail. But listen, they're trying to break into the freaking thing, and Solo's there, and R2D2's there, and I
Yeah.
think Princess Leia's there, and they're trying to get in, and they have the R2D2's
Advanced
trying to do it, and
technology,
everything.
they can't
Finally,
do
he
that.
just gets fed up, uses his thing, and shoots it, and it
Shoots
opens
it.
up.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just do that from the beginning? Why'd
Yeah.
they spend 20 minutes trying to open it up,
always
and all
like
they had to
that.
do was shoot the freaking
Because
controls
it's
to open it up?
suspense. They're trying to add suspense to the battle and make it seem like there's like actual like
That's
Yeah,
Stakes.
the
I
original
understand
Han
that, but
Solo
that's-
was awesome, though. Chewbacca
Yeah.
was awesome. Who's that in these new ones? There is no real Han
Yeah,
Solo.
no.
Well, Chewbacca's in it. Don't forget.
Well,
Chewbacca's
what's
in
his
this one.
name? Yeah, it's old Chewbacca's a washed up.
Yeah, it's
like
Chewbacca's
washed up
like 900
Chewbacca.
years old, right? I think.
He's like, oh, he doesn't even have the real raw anymore. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
He goes, meh.
But yeah,
But like, I guess what's
Yeah.
his name supposed to be the Han Solo, like the pilot?
Yeah. Poe Dameron.
Yeah. He's missing for half the damn. They get together. He's in a sandstorm.
Well,
and he's gone for 5
but
hours.
That's also one of the biggest complaints, man. Like, all right, so I didn't like Last Jedi at all. I did
Yeah.
not like that movie at all. I was in the J.J. Abrams camp. First of all, I love J.J. Abrams. He's a great director. He also made the Star Trek movies, the new ones, like those new ones. He made those too. Like, he's a great
yeah.
director.
Yeah,
I
he
couldn't
is
believe when like they didn't want to like try to do whatever they could to bring him back, whatever it took. And yeah, a lot of the best characters that were in it, like I remember, like the guy Finn,
Finn,
Yeah,
he's
he's good.
a
pilot.
great character. They literally made him like terrified. They made him like scared, like
the gunner.
the weakest, most terrified character ever. He tries to run away. It's like this guy just fought off everybody in the first movie. Now all of a sudden he's afraid.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck? What are you talking about?
right.
Yeah,
I did not like that.
I
at
like
all.
that. Could have had some more air battles. At
Yeah,
least.
exactly. That's why I like Force Awakens, because it had a lot of the same characters, and I think it like that was cool to me. A lot of that stuff, but I don't know, man.
I don't mean to like constantly. I'm not really. I wouldn't say dissing the movie. It's just that
you are outright.
I
you
actually
are
find
blatantly
There's 15
dissing.
reasons
all right,
why they
but I actually find it fun to like look at the things and just laugh
Yeah,
at them sometimes because
critique
they are
them, I
kind of
guess.
funny.
Yeah, but you also have to point out the good things in it too. That's
Oh,
the
I do,
thing.
but
you
I do-
usually have to balance it.
I've
Life
watched
is a little
it.
bit of a balance.
I do like the series, and I've watched
I wouldn't
all
worry
of it
about it
multiple
because
times.
nobody watching
And
this show knows.
I
what
watch it
dissing
more
is.
for-
They
Yes,
weren't alive
exactly.
then when the word dissing was.
Sure.
out.
I watch more of the. I watch it more for just the story than I do, and I overlooked a little.
Well,
silly
so like I
things.
said,
You
I've
got-
Yeah.
seen all of
Yeah.
them. I'm
Well, the
still gonna
action
see
is
the
also.
Rise
I
of
mean,
Yeah, the
Skywalker.
action- action's good, like the
at
fight
its
scenes
core, it's a science fiction / action movie, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the space battles. I mean, like all right, no one's gonna tell me like that Star Wars battle, the first one against the Death Star, even in 1977, that was an amazing sequence. The whole when he's flying through the trench on the Death Star and all that, that's a great sequence. It's
Yeah.
freaking amazing.
All right, who do you guys?
All of that stuff is great.
Who do you guys think is the strongest of the Jedi's?
Well, I think I actually know who it is technically. I mean, well, again, see, I shouldn't say I know. I know what people have told me that know about this stuff. And I,
I mean,
guess
I
in
can
the
only
lore,
base
it's
it on
all
what we've
different.
seen so far.
Yeah.
Ray seemed the most
I guess
aptitude.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She picked up like
Yeah.
Instantly,
Luke had like
the
3
strongest.
movies and his stupid ass still was getting housed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
3 movies? He still didn't finish his training?
Yeah,
What the
right.
hell? I'm leaving, Yoda.
He was pretty
Foolish
badass
you
though
are.
in Return of the
Yeah.
Jedi, though,
What?
right? He was pretty badass in Return.
yeah,
of the
he
Jedi.
was. He was. I mean, he beat
No,
Darth
of course,
Vader.
right, of course. And Darth
Who
Vader probably
some
was
people
the
say was the
strongest, I
best.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did beat Darth
He
Vader.
seemed to have the most command of the
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Force.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
guess. Darth Darth Maul is probably the best acrobatic fighter.
Yeah, Darth Maul
Maul.
is badass, man.
Yeah,
I think
but he wasn't a Jedi. I'm talking strictly Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So from what I understand, again, like this is gonna, I sound like I'm nerding out because I've listened to people nerding out. But apparently, like Mace Windu is supposed to be like the most powerful. Yeah, but he's supposed to be like the most powerful Jedi. So apparently, you know how like this is such a boring thing, but if you're into Star Wars, you're gonna really like this next little bit. But you know how like he has the purple lightsaber? He's the only one who has that.
Because that's like the equivalent of belt number 8, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
I rated that as number 2 this year, if anyone wondered. Number 2 lightsaber was
the blue,
purple.
Purple belt. Solid.
All right,
solid. Solid pick. But apparently, so like, like Jedis are like, you're not supposed to use the dark side of the Force. You're supposed to use the light side of the Force because the dark side corrupts or whatever.
Right.
All that shit. Well, Mace Windu is the only Jedi who ever he knows how to be able to tap into like the dark side of within himself and actually use it, but like use it for good. Like he's so powerful, he can actually use the dark side of the Force without letting it corrupt him, and he combines the light and the dark. So what color lightsaber do the Siths use?
Red.
And what color do the Jedis use?
Yeah.
White.
No,
blue.
Like
Bluish.
Blue, right?
Bluish or white.
What happens when you combine?
That's why you can't see.
What happens when you?
lightsaber.
What happens when you combine red and blue?
Yeah, purple.
You get purple. There you go. That's why it's purple.
Oh, interesting.
There you
All right.
go. Fun fact.
I'm reorganizing my lightsaber top 10. That's purple's number 1 now.
Yeah, there you go. So that's kind of cool.
Here's this guy. I didn't even know what the hell he's from. I'm looking through this, dude. I'm like a real newbie. Darth Revan. He was apparently fascinating villain because he was a former Jedi and then becomes bad.
Okay, well,
Is he the only one of those?
Well, no, this both. I mean, didn't Count Dooku was a Jedi?
Wasn't Darth?
I think basically every Sith
they always
was a
do
Jedi.
that. They start with the good and then they end up in the bad.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
You know what one of my favorite Star Wars movies was Spaceballs.
Yeah, Spaceballs.
Spaceballs
was a.
I like that movie. I watched it so many times. Rick
so anyway, the next movie, we're not going to spoil the last one.
But the funny thing is that you really liked Rise of Skywalker.
I did.
Like, you really did like it a lot.
I think as a finisher, I think it finished off the series very nicely.
It's probably because if you're not a crazy fan, it probably is an obsession.
Some of the things you were questioning, it kind of
did they answer some of that?
It did.
I would argue they answer almost everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a good finish to the series. I personally enjoyed it. I did enjoy the series, even though I love making fun of it because I think it's open to light. It's open to a lot of that, but all in all, I loved it. So from here, let's.
I think that in summary, I would give the
what do you give it
the
number?
entire
so
the Skywalker Saga. I think I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. If you combine every single movie, the movies I liked, the movies I didn't like, I'd give it maybe like a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with
somewhere in that range.
What'd you get this last one?
This last one, I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. 7.5, 7.5 out of 10.
I would probably do that around. Me personally, I would put that about an 8. 8.
That's cool. There you go. See.
All right, now on IMDb right now after let's see how many.
We have to rate these animals. There's the Wampa, the Tauntaun,
the there's 154.
The Boga,
the Jabba the Hutt.
What do you? He's a great villain. Jabba was a great villain. When he was trying to use that Jedi crap on him, he was like, "Your Jedi mind tricks don't work on me."
Yeah.
There's a lot of badass characters in Star Wars. Like Han Solo was a badass.
That's what I'm saying. Han Solo was a great.
He was great. And Harrison Ford.
He could carry the movie. That's what I'm saying. Half the time Luke was out of the show, you're like, "Oh, I like this part. What's this Wookiee do?"
Exactly. Yeah, man.
Like I don't feel like that carried through. Like when Rey was on the screen, the last two, the ones I saw, chapters 7 and 8, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed them.
Right.
But I just was like, there was nothing like
nothing
like side stories. That were like, it was just one main story following through. In my opinion.
I got you. All right.
One thing I did find fascinating about it though is how they did the CGI for Princess Leia for the middle of the second one all the way through to the last one.
Yeah, well, to the last one too with the
which is pretty insane.
de-aging. Well, she passed away, so they had to kind of do that.
But they did a really good job.
That's why it's creepy.
You wouldn't think.
I guess so.
It's a good legacy for her anyway. But so we'll I think we'll take a little break. We'll come back and we have we have some more stuff to talk about.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So, we're back. Anyway, we'll continue on. We can talk forever about the Star Wars stuff and and I don't want to keep shitting on it like I've been doing, and at least you guys think I think it's just fun to make fun of it.
Take whatever viewpoint you want.
Yeah, but
about you didn't got to kowtow to nobody Mandalorian.
Yeah, exactly.
But for the people out there,
Mandalorian's a whole other thing. You hate that too.
Yeah, well, no, I don't hate it, but I'm watching. I'm trying to like it, but I don't know. I don't know where it's going. Anyway, but send in your comments and your questions. We have loosely related podcast@gmail.com. So if you have any questions, comments, or hate mail, send it to there and let us know, because I'm really interested in finding out from you Star Wars fans, of huge ones out there, that could correct me if they think I'm wrong, or give us some more information.
Like I said, next episode is just going to be us doing an entire correction about all this entire Star Wars episode.
I'm sure we will.
We're sorry.
But I don't think we can have enough time to do the corrections.
Probably not.
We'd have to do multiple segments, a series of corrections. But
exactly.
What we wanted to talk about, since now that this is our New Year's Eve episode, it's New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's, everybody out there! Yep. And we want to talk about some of the best. Joey has a couple ideas for us here. So I'm going to let you lead into it, Joey.
All right, fair enough. Well, I know. All right, so the whole thing was this. So we got talking about Sky, like the Rise of Skywalker and Star Wars and all that shit coming out.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, that was a really big moment in 2019. It was so huge, and it was it was a big moment just in in general, because it's the end. It's the end of something that started in 1977. So whether you like it or not, whether you're a film buff, whether you're a indie film guy or not, you cannot deny that the legacy that Star Wars has left behind. Star Wars revolutionized so much in the special effects industry, and how it did things that was so far ahead of its time. It was like a lot of people want to give credit to Jimi Hendrix is one of the greatest guitar players of all time, because he was a innovator. He innovated so much and created styles of guitar playing that didn't exist up until that point.
Right.
And this is the end of that saga.
Mm-hmm.
So it got me thinking, 2019 also had a lot of other big moments, and being that this is our New Year's Eve episode, as you said, Dad.
For the record, that's what I really wanted to talk about with Star Wars, about the legacy in the era. I could have just left it at that. And just
that's what. That's when you had mentioned it to me. It was about that, but whatever. What are you gonna do? Part of that freaking story and that it leaves behind is the hilarious moments. That it's done. But anyway, so as a part of our New Year's Eve special, or New Year's Eve episode rather, I love doing my top 5 moments. So part of that Rise of Skywalker was number 5 on Joey's top 5 moments from 2019. So this is really just any kind of moment, just my favorite moments from 2019. Not even really in any particular, genre or any kind of film or, any kind of category. But I thought I would just go through my top 5 list real quick, not take up too much time, just because it was a crazy year for so many different things. So my number 4 on my list was Joker coming out. Todd Phillips' Joker released in theaters on October 4th. And believe it or not, even though all that controversy that we talked about on the episode and all of that stuff, all the people that were, afraid of it and all that, it still wound up eventually becoming the highest grossing comic book movie of all time, just in terms of its budget versus how much it made it at the global box office. And it is also the first R-rated movie to ever make over $1 billion.
Wow.
So that was obviously really cool. Number 3 for me was it's kind of a crazy one, as you guys saw in our music episode. One of my top played songs of 2019 was Old Town Road by Lil Nas X. That was my number 3 moment. This song being released by Lil Nas X featuring Billy Ray Cyrus. It was a great song. It kind of like I said, I liked it because it really kind of proved that as long as you're a very talented artist, you can cross any genre barrier. There is no barrier to your genre. You can go into rap and country and combine that. And obviously, it became the longest-running number 1 song on the Billboard Hot 100, 19 consecutive weeks at number 1. That was pretty huge. Number 2, this is kind of perfect. Your jersey kind of gave me this idea right here.
One of my Christmas presents.
One of your Christmas presents was this jersey right here,
so
a authentic Lawrence Taylor jersey
from my wife. Thank you, honey.
Yeah. So number 2 moment for me was when the Giants on April 25th used their 6th overall pick in the draft to take Daniel Jones out of Duke. Quarterback.
That wasn't your favorite pick. That wasn't your favorite.
Well, see, here's my thing.
At
the time, it was not. But this is the end of the year.
When they first picked him up, I was like, "What the?
What are they doing?"
Remember, I was like,
people were.
First of all, I think like most people, my first reaction was, "Who?" I was like, "I don't know who that is."
Yeah.
So, but of course, now the end of the year, did he have the best season? No, the Giants obviously had a terrible year.
He has tremendous potential.
But he has a lot of potential. Just for a little bit of context, he now holds the record for most completions by a rookie for 256 completions. Now, these are our franchise records.
This is for just the Giants.
For the Giants. But considering all the quarterbacks, the Giants had, Eli Manning, Y.A. Tittle back in the day, all that shit. I'm just saying, it's a big deal. But he destroyed the old record of 162. This past Sunday, he broke the franchise record for most passing touchdowns. He now has 23 on the season. Yep. He has 11 straight games with at least one passing touchdown.
5 that day, right?
He had 5. He had 5 touchdowns. Yeah. So he has 11 straight games with at least one passing touchdown, which also broke the previous Giants record of 9. And basically, besides just wins, he basically has broken or been very close to breaking almost every single rookie record for quarterbacks for the Giants. So I mean, I guess at the end, it kind of worked out for his rookie season. Was it perfect? No, the Giants had a terrible year, but like you said, that he has a lot of potential. And I'm honestly
it's
now
not all his fault.
The record was
not all his fault. The offensive line is absolutely garbage. It literally is so bad.
The record was previously held by Y.A. Tittle.
I had to look it up again. I might have gotten that wrong today when I was talking about it, but still, it worked out in the end. Kind of, you could say as of right now, we'll see what's going to happen. I'm definitely way happier about it now than I was
when they originally did it. Everybody was second guessing that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then my number one moment of the year, I think if you've watched this show for even one episode, you can probably see this coming, and that was the release of Avengers Endgame on April 26th, 2019. It officially brought to a conclusion the Infinity War saga, which started all the way back in 2008 with the first Iron Man.
Yep.
It's a big thing for me. We bought our tickets like the day they were available to purchase, and we waited online for that, and we went to see it, and it was, I loved it, obviously, and it was sort of a perfect conclusion to that, and that was my favorite moment from 2019.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks for that, Joey.
You are welcome, and again, Happy New Year's to all of our listeners out there.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Just to close out the show, I think I wanted to mention a couple of things that maybe some shows you guys and the people out there can spend their 2020 starting to watch if you want to binge watch some shows. Of course, there's The Mandalorian, which I'm watching right now, so you can jump on that, especially since we're talking about the Star Wars thing in this episode.
Sure.
But there's 2 particular shows that I loved. I watched them. One's a Netflix film. The other one is a series that's going on right now, and it might be very big with some of you gamers out there. It's called The Witcher. It's a Netflix series. Season 1 right now is on, and so far I love it. Now, I never played the game. Don't really know much about the story. But the story that I've been watching is awesome. And you played the game, so
I've played the games. It's it's very, very good. From a person who not just played it but loved it, I love The Witcher 3 is probably my favorite game of all time. It's very good. It's very the guy who Henry Cavill who plays Geralt of Rivia is Superman. He's exactly like Geralt of Rivia. It's really
he does a really good job with
it. It's really good.
Yeah.
He's great.
Seems like he's a good
great.
Yeah.
I thought some of it was a little slow, but
yeah. Well, what happens with it is it jumps around, like time jumps a lot.
Yeah, it's in different timelines.
It's almost like
in
that.
The first 3 episodes.
Yeah,
it's almost like the war movie, the World War II movie, where it jumps. It keeps jumping
Ocean's
back.
12. Yeah,
Ocean's 12.
Yeah,
and So, but it talks about different people in the story, and it tells the story and keeps jumping around. So sometimes it's a little hard to follow. But
linear.
the story is very, very. I like it so far.
Yeah,
and even my wife's watching. She loves it.
That fantasy fair is like super popular.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to cash in on that genre right now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that's definitely, and also the game has just gotten even bigger and bigger. For sure.
And I'm going to preempt Rob on my right here and tell you that it's actually coming out on the Nintendo Switch. So they're crossing it over to Nintendo Switch for you Switch fans out there.
Update correction: it's already on the Switch.
It's already on the Switch. Okay, so there you go.
All right.
And then the other one's a Netflix film. It's called The Two Popes.
Yep, just came out.
It just came out.
The Two Popes.
Yeah.
Is it about 2 fellas drinking B&B?
It could be. That would be a good one.
Yeah.
We should think about
bottle.
We should think about making a sequel and submitting it to Netflix, see if they pick it up.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, Netflix will pick up anything. So we'll be good.
We'll say the 3 popes drinking the Pope's bottle.
Popes. Yeah, exactly. It actually is getting like rave review. Like it actually is like a front runner for Best Picture.
Yeah, it is very, very good. It's a great story. It's
just came out this past Friday.
It's a real humanistic.
It actually is really good.
It's a humanistic view of the popes and their interactions and how they, it's fascinating. Just as people, not these. And
Anthony Hopkins plays Pope Benedict, and I mean, he's just if he has a chance to win Best Actor again at like probably 80 something. The guy's like, maybe even 90. I don't even know, but he did a phenomenal job.
And the actor who plays Pope Francis is also another.
Don Ho.
Don Ho. Yes, it's Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott directing. Don Ho.
Yeah. So he's also another, but they both do a really great job. It's a good one. Definitely check it out. Okay, guys, so that's our show, I think, for today. Don't forget to tune in on January 2nd for our, we're going to announce the winner of our loosely related ugly sweater contest.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure you check that out.
Give a little rating.
And Happy New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year's, everybody.
Make sure you stay safe tomorrow. Don't use an Uber. Stay
Lyft.
at home.
Please do not drink and
Lyft,
drive.
whatever. Don't drink and drive. And have a wonderful time, guys. You guys got anything?
No, like I said, just everybody have a good time. And make sure to stay tuned to see who's going to win that $40 Visa gift card.
There's some really good entries, man. So you got to check it out.
All right.
All right.
Have a happy New Year, everybody.
Peace out.
Peace.